Hello, everybody. Today is May 26th, and I am doing a full moon lunar eclipse supermoon oracle reading. So the full moon in Sagittarius is tonight. It says, look at the bigger picture, and with the full moon in Sagittarius. We also have a full moon eclipse occurring as well. It says conclusions are within reach. And it's also a super moon. It's the flower supermoon as well, which our emotions are running high. I'm not sure about some of you guys, but I definitely have been feeling the energetic pull for the last week and a half. It has a lot to do with a lot of different planet constellations are in retrograde. Currently we have Jupiter in retrograde as well as Saturn. On the 28th, we have Mercury going into retrograde into Aquarius, and it's actually going to be retrograding into Capricorn. So it's just a lot of different energetic shifts and pulls in the atmosphere. Many of us are feeling those pulls definitely coming from the ethers, and this is a great time to really start looking at things, really reflecting on some things, and understanding that there's some cycles that need to be closed out for good, especially with the eclipse. Anytime we have a situation that there is an eclipse, eclipse is actually when the shadow side of things comes full circle, and there's illumination in it as well. So many of us know that eclipse usually occurs when the moon, the sun, and are in complete alignment. At that point in time, there is, like, depending upon when the actual eclipse occurs. So during the lunar moon eclipse, you don't basically see the moon. However, our moon is also representation of our shadow side, our dark side, our side of us that most people don't really know too much about unless we're in close proximity of that person. So during this time, you will notice that many of us have started feeling that shift, that some of our dark side, our shadow side, our hidden sides are actually coming up. A lot of our past traumas is coming up to triggering us, and is not to actually come and trigger us to, further hurt us, but it's triggering us to actually heal in those areas. So whether you have problems with codependency, whether you have problems with past trauma, whether you have problems of sexual abuse as a child, whether you have problems of being raped, whether you have problems with ancestry, whether you have problems of physical and emotional abuse, not only by parents but also by previous partners. If you have problems with self-love, lack mentality, self-esteem issues, this is actually a time right now that God is giving us to actually heal those emotional wounds, and to heal those emotional triggers. Once we start healing those things and recognize them for what they are, we can actually start beginning the healing process. So why are we the way that we are? A lot of times we get caught up in the situation and say that's just the way that I am. Okay, but why are you that way? So this gives us a moment of reflection to really look at the bigger picture of things and understand that our healing is within reach. So the card says here for full moon in Sagittarius, says look at the bigger picture, and that's what we really need to do. We need to re-examine ourselves and really look at the bigger picture and see the areas in our life that we have grown in, and realize that we are no longer what our past says we are. I actually recently posted something on my Facebook that says people will continue to come to the address that you once lived in the past, to keep associating you with your past, not realizing that you no longer live at that residence and you done moved the fuck out. So just understand that whatever the situation may be, you are not who you used to be. You are not what your past has dictated of you. You are not any of those things. You are who God created you to be, and you are healed. So I'm speaking that to existence to a lot of people that are looking for healing right now. Actually, so ironically today that I actually wore yellow. Yellow has to do with our solar plexus chakra, and it has a lot to do with healing past traumas. I don't know why I felt so compelled to be wearing yellow lately, and definitely wearing a lot of, even with my nails being yellow and wearing yellow today, but it definitely has some correlation that it gives us an opportunity to relinquish control in healing our past traumas, whether they're past traumas that are associated with a broken home, past traumas that are associated with parenting issues and things of that nature. So once we actually start working on our solar plexus and start healing those chakras and rebalancing it, we will notice that certain areas in our life will greatly see improvement, especially relinquishing control. We can't control all the situations. We have to actually sometimes just go with the flow and appreciate things for what they are right in front of us. So the other card that's right here says emotions are running high. And definitely has been emotional time for the collective. Not only for myself, but I've actually seen quite a few Facebook posts, quite a few different people that have been dealing with closing out some cycles. A lot of people I know are being withdrawn at this time. They're in hermit mode. They kind of disassociated from themselves because they're in a position or place in life right now that they're trying to understand that what the cycle it is that they're in, and understand that some of their cycles are closing out. Sometimes we got to let things go and can't no longer hold on to them, especially when it's no longer serving us any good. And so that's what we have to understand. We're looking at the bigger picture. Sometimes it's not about where we've been, it's about where we're going. And we got to understand that not everybody is meant to go in the same place that we are being pivoted to go into. Not everybody's going to go in the same position. Not everybody's meant to come with you. You know, some people we have to leave in the past. Some people we have to just go ahead and reevaluate things and see what is going with us in the next realm, next era, next place in our life, our next cycle, our next position. And really looking at the bigger picture of things and not looking at things so surfacely that we only see things on the surface and only see things for what they appear to be. This is a good time to put your magnifying glass on and really analyze some things and really look at things into in a bigger scheme of things. We should look at, somebody might not be necessarily doing certain things. Scratch that. So looking at things at the bigger picture and bigger scheme of things. I was here listening to a story today when they were talking about Noah, and it, as though I've read that story in the Bible, I heard it for 100 times and taught the story myself. They said basically, and I like the way she broke it down. She said that Noah had ops, and basically people were talking about him, saying how crazy he was, saying how far-fetched he was, that he was sitting here building the ark. And he was building the ark to not only save himself and his family, but also to save civilization. He had a big picture. He had a big look at everything. He really saw things for what they truly were. And he had a bunch of people around him that were naysayers saying, no, you can't do it. You're crazy. That's not how things should go, And I can't believe you sitting there doing it. The floods are not coming and things of that nature. But lo and behold, they had to humble themselves and bow themselves down when the floods did come, because they had to ask him, can I come on your ark? When the flood started coming in and started raining for 40 days and 40 nights. And it just puts you in a bigger perspective and looking things at a different angle. Is sometimes it's not necessarily meant for everybody else to see where you're going and what position and place that they see you in. It's about what God calls you to do in your divine purpose and your divine path. A lot of people are not going to agree with what you're doing. A lot of people are not going to agree with who you are or what your position in life is. A lot of people are not going to see the vision for what it is. But guess what? It's not their vision. It's the vision that God created in you. And it's because it's part of your divine life path. And this is where he's calling you to go to. So when you stop thinking about what others have to say and what other people got to do with things, you'll start understanding that you got to look at the bigger picture. A lot of times we'll forfeit the things that God has for us in our life is because we're so worried about what other people have to say. We're so worried about the naysayers, the gossipers, the people that got so much to say about nothing but have nothing to do with what's going on in your life. Because of that, we cause ourselves to have blockages, and we actually miss out on the opportunity to really lay hold on the things that God has put into our life. And sometimes we miss out on relationships. Sometimes we miss out on friendships. Sometimes we miss out on business opportunities. Sometimes we just miss out on finances and different things because we're so worried about what other people have to say. And like, I had to get to a position myself. I used to be a people pleaser. I used to care about what other people had to say about me, how they felt about me. And it got to a place that I was like, fuck this shit. I am who I am. Either you're going to appreciate me and understand that I'm here for a reason, or you're not. And so that's what position we have to be in. We have to look at the greater picture, the bigger picture of things, and not necessarily worry about all the naysayers and the people around us that have so much more to say that's not even contrary to where our life is going, so definitely looking at the bigger picture of things, really refocusing yourself. Take this time today and tomorrow to really go over your vision. Go over it with a fine-tooth comb over it, look over it. Understand that some things may be so minute and not necessarily where they're supposed to be at, but that doesn't necessarily mean that things are not going as they're planned to go. And just look at the bigger picture of things. Look at the greater scheme of things. Look at the vision for what it truly is, and not the little small details that haven't come to pass yet. So it says additional meanings for this card. It says the situation may have come around because you have been distracted. Be confident to win the day. Have you shown that you care? If not, now is the time. Find balance between speaking your mind and saying too much. The full moon in Sagittarius is a time when we are reminded in life is an adventure and there's a big wide world to see beyond our backyard. It's about having fun and being prepared to sail into the uncharted territory. It's about big ideas versus the details. No matter when you draw this card, it encourages you to look at the bigger picture. So I totally agree with that. The eclipse card, which is the full moon eclipse that's occurring also. We have a lunar eclipse tonight, a blood moon lunar eclipse. And it says doors will slam shut now and will not reopen. It's time for you to get back on track. Forgiveness will set you free of karma. Meditation, yoga are all recommended now. Cede control and let events unfold. Just said something about control and actually having relinquishing control. The full moons are nearly always about climaxes and very often about conclusions. Full moon eclipses are often the same, but on steroids. A full moon eclipse can be hard to handle because it portends change. Something many of us are uncomfortable with, but change is a part of life. And then this card, no matter when you pull it, reminds you of the fact that full moon eclipse also gives you a glimpse into what Carl Jung called the shadow self. Work with your darkness. I truly agree with that. The last card is the supermoon, and it says, a resolution to your question is closer than you may think. Don't ignore the obvious. Something exciting lies ahead. Make sure you don't blow events out of proportion. Speak to the goddess and ask for her assistance. A supermoon in a full moon. A super moon in a new or full moon that takes place when the moon is at the closest point of the earth during its monthly orbit and an event known as a perigee. If it's a full moon, the moon appears around 14% bigger than at this time. The moon is known as the queen of emotions. And if you draw the supermoon card, regardless of when you do this, you can expect your feelings to be mostly highly charged. And definitely been feeling that pull lately myself. Okay, I am going to pull a couple additional message cards. This is actually from my Sacred Destiny chart. Sacred Destiny Oracle cards. I'm just really in a position to really see. I want to see what God has for me. You know, I have been doing the work for the past 2 years of relinquishing a lot of things I've had that were reflected in my shadow side. And I'm really in a position now that I really want to reap all the benefits that God has for me, not only for me, but for those around me and those that are in the collective. I'm really, I'm excited. So the 3 cards that I pulled is happiness, thriving, and love. And inner peace is right on top as well. Happiness, thriving, and love. Definitely important parts. I'm so sorry. Okay, happiness says shimmering sunshine. It has a dolphin and then it has the sunshine and then it has like ocean waves. It's a really pretty card. Our sun is at the center of our solar system. Our planet and our lives revolve around its cycles of light and dark, our inner and outer biological rhythms, as well as the rhythms of every animated and inner part of life, are ruled by this celestial force. In the far past, the sun has been thought of as God. Traditionally, it has been associated with happiness, joy, hope, enlightenment, illumination, truth, cheer, warmth, and goodwill. Additionally, sunlight is an expansion force. When something is heating up by the light of the sun, it enlarges. Without the energy of the sun, things contract. The sun carries the deepest energy of expansion in life. So to receive this card is to know that you're expanding. Definitely goes along with looking at the bigger picture and understanding what exactly the moon represents to us. The sacred landscape behind this card says, click your heels and shout for joy. The signs are with you. Let the light shine. Abounding good luck awaits you. A gateway is opening for even more joy and happiness. Your life is expanding. Opportunities are emerging. This is a time to go forward with glee. Love deeply and fully. Embrace life with open arms. Goodness is flowing to you. The only thing to be aware of is monitoring your expansion in a metered way. Too much, too fast can be overwhelming. The next card is Thriving, which has the sun in it as well. And then it has giraffes. I love giraffes. They're such gentle creatures. In the African savanna lives the tree of life. This is a prehistoric species that predates humans. It's over 200 million years old. It has adapted, survived, and thrived to a harsh environment where so many other species have gone extinct. This tree can live up to 5,000 years, can reach almost 100 feet tall. It is a succulent, which means that the rainy seasons absorbs and stores water in enormous trunks. This water helps it produces nutrient-dense fruit in the dry season when the land is parched and arid. The remarkable plants provide shelter, food, and water for both animals and human. It's one of the only plants in the world that doesn't drop its fruit where it will spoil. It stays on the branch where it dries out. When picked, the fruit has 3 years shelf life. The sacred landscape behind this card says if you draw this card, you are a survivor. You're not only to do and not only do you survive, but you use situations that others might find challenging to thrive. You expand when others shrink. This may be time to adapt to your circumstances rather overcome by them. You have a remarkable ability to step beyond any challenge. You are strong. Others might find shelter in your energy, and right now that's okay. Through giving to others, you are in turn nourished. This card maybe urges you to step into a primordial, powerful, wild part of yourself. Doing this will increase your vitality and contribute to your overall well-being. And this goes a lot along with the lines where I was saying that this is a time to really heal emotional past traumas. You're a survivor. And when you have gone through all the things that you have gone through, it is for the benefit of others. It may not feel like it when you're going through it, but definitely it's part of the path that God has for you. I know myself, I personally have gone through a lot of different traumas. And I know that, at that time I really was like, why is this happening to me, God? But as I got older and I really started maturing and really started looking, I realized that I was a healer, and I'm here to actually was sent to heal other people. I have the gift of healing in a couple different ways. But because I am a healer, how do I know what it's like to be healed if I've never been hurt or broken? And that's what we have to understand, that all of the situations that we go through in our life is for our greater good. It may not feel like it at that particular time, but it truly is. The Bible says that all things work together for our good, which means the good and the bad. So everything circumspectly works for our greater good. It definitely doesn't feel like it at that time, but it definitely is part of the big scheme of things. And most of the healers that I know, people that have been through the craziest stuff or the most traumatic events, all have healing roles in some way, shape, or another. They're mentors, they're doctors, there's nurses, they're therapists, there's Reiki healers. There's a lot of different healers out there, pastors, preachers, motivational speakers. A lot of people have their story to tell others, and it has to go with forgetting about what others may say about you, but what is your story? What makes you shine? What sets you apart from everyone else? It's like, where is your light and who are you? And how do you shine your light? A lot of times it's those past traumas and past circumstances that really pushes you to another place and understanding why your light shines like it is and how you attract people that are broken. So never forget that. Just never truly forget that. And then also the last card is love. And even with that being said and done, when you're a healer, a lot of people who love unconditionally tend to get hurt the most by people who don't love properly. And it's because you have a lot of love to give. You're full of love. And some people don't feel that they deserve love. They don't recognize love, or they have different love languages than what we have. It's that reason alone why people who love hard tend to get hurt the most. And there's nothing wrong with loving hard. That means God gave you a lot more love to give. You just have to be more selective and have more boundaries on who to love and how to love them. And you can love everybody, just love them from a distance. Some people don't need to be in your mental space. Some people don't need to be in your physical space. That doesn't necessarily mean you don't love them. I know myself personally, I love everybody. And when I say I love everybody, I show love to everybody. It ain't a person in this world that I've ever not shown love to. And it's because God had put love in my heart. And I know that that's where God resides in, is in my heart. So my heart chakra is always open. And some people didn't deserve the love that I gave them, but it didn't stop me from loving them, And that's definitely, it's those boundaries. You know, like I said, you can love people, but you ain't got to fuck with them. The next card here, the rose card. And it's so funny because it's the flower moon today, which it's a wild rose on here. And when I realized it was the flower moon, that's what it reminded me of, was the wild roses. It says, roses are a universal symbol of love. The rose was associated with Aphrodite, the god of love and beauty. It was also thought to represent truth. In Roman times, a rose was hung in a meeting place with understanding that only truth can be spoken under the rose. In many Native American tribes, wild roses are powerful symbols of life. Some tribes believe that wild roses were protection, so they kept them in their home. The wild rose, as opposed to the domesticated rose, represents love that is wild and free and without bounds. It blossoms all summer and beloved by bees and butterflies. The sacred landscape behind this card says, love is all around you. Love is coming into your life. You are already more cherished than you can possibly know. Indeed, you are a sacred vessel for love to flow through you when you stand in the center of it all. All is well, no matter what is happening around you. You know that you are loved and you are lovable. You know that there is nothing that you need to do to deserve love. You are enough, just as you are. The Creator is love, and in the depth of your soul, you are love. In matters of the heart and romance, all healing is already healed. In terms of self-love, your confidence and self-esteem are growing, and take time to cherish and care for yourself. And I am going to pull 2 more cards. And this will close out my oracle reading for today. I hope the message blessed y'all. It's definitely blessed me. I've actually been trying to post on my YouTube the messages I've been getting for the last few days, but I just could not get them to download properly. So I'm just hoping and praying that these messages today get to you and whoever may need them. Once more. I don't know. This card keep popping up, I think. Follow your dreams. Definitely follow your dreams. Uh-oh. Shuffle one more time. My little carpals come acting up. These cards are so big, they don't work with my little itty bitty hands. New beginnings and leadership. And it's funny because leadership was on the bottom of this deck that I just pulled. And rebirth. And new beginnings and rebirthing is definitely, I'm going to go ahead and go with these right here. I was only going to pull 2 cards, but I'm going to roll with this because definitely there is new beginnings. A lot of us are closing out cycles. A lot of us have closed out cycles. A lot of us are in transition mode trying to figure out what's next. A lot of us have left jobs, left relationships, left things that no longer served our purpose anymore. A lot of us have left ideas, old ways, old patterns about ourselves because they no longer serve the purpose that God has for us. It's no longer part of the big picture of things. So new beginnings and rebirth go hand in hand. To have a rebirth means to begin again, to start anew, to start refresh. And being that both of these cards are leadership, there's definitely some correlation in here, but I'm going to go ahead and knock out these cards because this is a really long reading that I normally don't have this long, but I guess it was definitely something that God needed me to share with others. It says, for new beginnings, says this card indicates a time of new beginnings where there will be plenty of opportunities to create a fresh start. This opportunity plays a very important part in catapulting you to where you need to be, so it's the best interest to follow them where they may lead. By drawing this card, you're being encouraged to find the inner strength and courage to step into unknown and to feel the fear and do it anyways and create a brand new life. New opportunities may present themselves in areas of relationships, home, and career. There might be a chance to move, study, or travel, or embark on an exciting new endeavor. Regardless, you must pay attention to the signs and seize the moment when they arise. When you open to new beginnings, the universe will send you a next logical step to take. In order to improve your current situation, you must be asked to adjust to, harmonize with the natural rhythm of cycles of your life, cycles that are leading you towards an exciting new beginning. So be optimistic and ambitious and move with the changing tides. Embrace the mystery and the unknown, and you will make your dreams come true. The affirmation behind this particular card says, I embrace new beginnings and I make my dreams come true. And it was that's so funny, because that was one of the cards that was in there, was the dream come true card. Definitely definitely on the money. God knows what he's doing. The leadership card says this card indicates a time to lovingly lead and guide others who are less capable than you. This may apply to your workplace, community, family, or circle of friends. By drawing this card, you are being encouraged to have confidence in your ability to motivate and inspire those who accompany you on your path. Wow. This card also indicates a role as a leader in your field. You may choose to rise to the top of your game with unique talents, or to lovingly lead others to a new and improved way of life. Either way, it's time to step up to the plate and adopt a position of authority, for you have a natural ability to lead. In order to improve your current situation, you are being asked to adjust to or harmonize with the natural rhythm and cycles of your life. Cycles that are encourage you to be a compassionate leader. Remember, a successful leader leads alongside rather than above. Others graciously follow you when you have the best interests at heart. So know that it's safe for you to lead the way. The affirmation behind this card says, I lead others, in turn serve a higher purpose. Man, basically this just reiterated everything I've been saying. The rebirth card says this card indicates a time of major transition and transformation that will result in significant personal growth. By drawing this card, you have entered a period of spiritual awakening and rebirth, where you have the opportunity to align with your higher self and the overarching principles that have guided you. This is where you surrender to the changes around you and prepare to be the best you can. You are being encouraged to trust and believe that a magical future awaits. But first, you need to let go of the old in order to experience the new. Time to reevaluate your core values and re-examine your life. Then eliminate any superficial foundations that don't align with your higher self and your dreams. This is the time to recognize and rise above any ego-based thoughts and behaviors. For humility and authenticity are the keys to your success. In order to improve your current situation, you're being asked to adjust to harmonize with the natural rhythm and cycles of your life, cycles that are leading you towards higher levels of understanding and awareness. This transformation is inevitable, so you know that this is a very exciting time, for you are about to become the best you possibly can. The affirmation behind this card says, through personal transformation, I reach my greatest potential. So, all of these cards, all of the messages, all of them link to what is to come. And it's looking at that bigger picture. Not about what you've gone through. Not about, what you're dealing with. Not about your circumstances and how you're dealing with your circumstances and looking at things for what they are and being really nitpicky, but really looking at the bigger picture and knowing that you are protected, you are well, you are living in abundance, you are living in prosperity, you are living in the path and position that God created for you and called you to do. So move forward. Leave that old shit behind. Leave those old ways behind. Leave those people behind that no longer serve you. Leave that job behind that no longer serves you. Leave all those things behind that no longer serve you and move forward into the path. Have faith. One thing about manifesting and having intentions, you can have intentions all day, every day. But if you do not have faith and believe that you're making the right choice, the universe will not move. It's about having faith. Faith without works is dead. You got to have faith. You got to trust God. You got to relinquish control, having the right to wanting to control everything. You have to have that unspeakable faith that's been in the Bible, unspeakable faith that you've had in the past that's gotten you past difficult situations, whether you face jail time in court, whether you faced eviction, whether you faced losing your job, or whatever the case may be. It's having that unspeakable faith, that knowing that no matter what, within a shadow of doubt, that God is going to move on your behalf. Anytime we put intentions into the atmosphere, into the ethers, into the cosmos, it gives God, it allows God to move. But once you start having that unspeakable faith, that faith that Joshua had, that faith of Joel, that faith of Job, you start having that faith that Nehemiah had, that faith that Daniel had in the lion's den. Once you start having that type of faith, it is unmovable, unspeakable faith. When you have that, when you release your intentions in the ethers, you have no choice but to manifest, because the universe follows when you have faith. So whatever you're praying about, whatever the situation may be, whatever clarity you may need right now, just know that God is doing it for you right now in this very hour. Just have unspeakable faith and believe that it's going to happen. Y'all be blessed.